the engine idling, open the valve, the turbo moves more air idling than what the engine is taking. Alrighty, so got Alex, my wiring guy, is on the way here to wire everything up for the new boost gates. If you recall, you remember, fitting, gonna put it right there. Before we talk about speed sensors and the covers, a couple questions to answer for you guys that I saw all the time. Question one was, how is this gonna shut when any other time is it gonna be? Okay, so how it's going to open is at it needs to be at wide open throttle and certain RPM parameters with trans brake button engaged. Okay, and so then when trans brake button is disengaged, it just goes to full closed. Then we will have it so that it will you asked about the blow-off valves. Then at zero throttle position, or actually we can take it back. Sorry, we have to do it this way. The wide open throttle and RPM. So TPS versus RPM. So wide open throttle, X RPM will be X position. And then as soon as you let go of the trans brake button, obviously the engine RPM goes up. So it gets into a different spot on the table, closes the throttle blade. We'll then have the throttle blade open at 0% throttle. Or actually I can have it open up at like 10% throttle or something like that, to where, and actually we might just do that, have like a minimum position at 10 PS or 10 PSI, that these will be open. Because this is just acting as the blow-off valve then. Don't care where the boost is going at part throttle. It's open. Normal normal surge valves are open at part throttle anyways. So do have it figured out. It will act as the surge valve, blow-off valve. It's going to open at wide open throttle and a X RPM window, and as soon as it jumps out of that window, it goes full close. As soon as it goes to closed throttle, or 10% to 0, boom, it'll open this valve back up, act as the dump valve. Okay, so that was good questions you guys had on that deal. That is how that is going to work. As soon as Alex gets here, he's late. So we got to wire that in, and then we'll jump online and have Cameron will help me make sure that everything is all set and that it works properly like the way we want it to, the way Fuel Tech will have it set up. Another question you guys had was, how does it operate with the hot side wastegates? The hot side wastegate is going to operate exactly the same as it always has. But we will be calling for the hot side wastegate on the two-step. Remember, this is only two-step issues that we're having. It is because I have really big turbos on this engine. For this particular engine combination, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel and change camshafts and change all this other stuff so I can not have to just put this gate on. Okay, that's just dumb. Okay, the engine makes exquisite, perfect horsepower. It's absolutely great. I don't need to change anything there. I just want to make sure, or get this one little control issue figured out better. And everybody is going to this because they're doing it for some different reasons, but it's a really good way of doing it, a really good method. Because you can get up turbo speed faster, better, things just work better. All right. So a hot side is still going to be, I'm still using my CO2 Turbo Smart gates. So period. The only thing that's going to be different about them is, instead of the hot side wastegate trying to control turbo speed by dumping off exhaust gas, it's just going to be wide open closed throttle. Actually, wide open closed. How about that? Wide open closed throttle, and it's just going to be closed. And so if I'm calling, for example, if I was calling for 15 pounds of boost, we're just going to target Well, I know what I make like 5-10. We'd probably put like 10 pounds of dome pressure on it right there, and that would be like at 20 pounds. So we're basically calling for a higher boost pressure on the exhaust gate. So the exhaust gate is not fighting it. There's no mixture, there's no correlation, nothing's going on there. There is a little bit of transition between when you let go of the trans brake button, the Turbo Smart boost gate closes. It actually would be open just tenths of a second, closing, and then the hot side wastegate is then opening it up and controlling. But that basically is doing what it is supposed to do anyways. In the real world, when the turbo is not surging or doesn't have any problem, it just goes up there and it's fine. But usually the wastegate is at one set position. It just goes burr, it just kind of finds this position, everything's fine. You let go of the trans brake button, it usually closes the wastegate because it's trying to build boost. Everything's doing the exact same thing. The wastegate's already going to be closed because we're closing it, the hot side. This will be closing, and then as it continues to build boost and ramp boost up, then we'll just be figuring out that new dome pressure boost curve. Another question we saw in there was speed sensors. Now I just put the speed sensors in the covers right here, or actually I took them down bullseye, put the speed sensors in there because yes, we do want to see what the speed is. Primarily, I'm really curious now is, does it help equalize things? Does it make things better? Not really quite sure. But yes, there's speed sensors, and a speed sensor is an interesting little deal because that's it right there. Little guy right there. That's all it is. And it basically, as each individual blade goes by, we'll show you over here. Every time it's at about this area right here. So every time 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I think I did that right. Hold on. I don't know. Yeah, it probably is 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes, 12. So 12, it'll have 12 pulses that goes past that little blade 12 times per rotation. So that's in the programming too. So it's counting how fast it goes, because that speed counter is counting, 100,000 plus RPM. Don't spin these turbos that fast yet, not even freaking close. That is when it's making a lot of horsepower. We're only probably at like 75 to 80,000 right now. I think right around there, probably about 75. So good questions. That's how it's going to work. Not sure if I'm missing anything else. I got it pretty well all figured out in my brain here, and we'll be hopefully getting this all wired in, tested, and working today, and we'll show that thing to you. Boost leak. Uh-oh. Or maybe not. So here you go. So this is the boost gate. So we have it on mounted. We have it wired. I don't have, or actually my guy came over, Alex, and wired this whole thing. We don't have power hooked up to it yet. It says not to put power to it just yet. This is how it works. So this is fully closed, obviously. And then some kind of percentages of openness. So one of the things that you do here is they want you to, this is just a manual override. So you run this all the way down to full close right there, and then back this up to 2 revolutions. But I don't, and they're saying that that somehow is open position, but it's not wide open position, so I'm not sure. I think obviously Cameron will come into this thing, because I'm really interested to see how much of a leak, because to refresh your memory, what we're going to do is we're going to pin, bad terminology, maybe it's the right bad terminology, it's not actually what we're doing, but we're just going to put, we're going to make the wastegates closed, the hot side wastegates closed. I was going to say pinned shut. That's not really correct terminology, but anyways, we're going to make them close. So they're not going to be functioning at all. So this thing could possibly build as much boost as possible. So from the hot side. So this is going to create a leak that's going to keep the wheel speed up and just bleed off the excess pressure for the starting line only. We don't do this down track. For the starting line only, and you could do it for launch. We might have some little control shut. You know, it's not going to just, when I let go of the button, it's not just going to go bang, shut, and then the wastegate's open, and we'll probably have it closed down at some kind of defined rate, something like that. And then the wastegates are coming in all at the same time. So there's going to be a little bit of figuring out on it, but I don't think it's going to be too big a deal. But the primary thing is the wheel speed is going to be, the turbos are going to be spinning. Once they're spinning, we control stuff. Getting them spinning is kind of the problem. So that's going to be interesting to see how much, you know, is that all it's going to take? Is that all it's going to take? Or is that all it's going to take? I don't know. But remember, these are going to open up when I let off the throttle. These will open right back up to act like a blow-off valve. So that'll be pretty cool. I'm thinking about some stuff on these, on how you could control these properly on a centrifugal supercharger. So imagine this. Imagine if your dump valve, if your blow-off valve opened up before you let off the throttle. For you centrifugal guys, think about it. Everybody else, you're all gonna go, that's not gonna... It's a different deal. Trust me. Because there's a lot of breakage in transmissions and blowers on centrifugals, because you close the throttle and then vacuum has to open up, and there's always this little delay. You could actually program this so it would, on a perfect pass, you know, there's some variables that would be here, but let's say your perfect pass is a 700, and you would actually could open this throttle at like 6.90. I'm not throttle, sorry. You could open this boost gate at 6.90, right, you know, a tenth of a second before you lifted, and that would really dump off pressure and it would help save your centrifugal supercharger transmission or gear drive. Think about that. So anyways, we got this here, waiting for Cameron to call me right now from Fuel Tech. You can also see that we have, I gotta move that darn thing, because that is not right. Speed sensors are in. You can see this one a little bit better. I showed you that the other day, that little speed sensor. I did show that the other day. Yep. So speed sensors are in, they're wired in, everything is wired here. We will be able to, so we're gonna look at our turbo speed. We're gonna look at our, look at our impeller speed and boost levels. Gonna figure this whole deal out. So I'm kind of excited about it. Think it's gonna be pretty cool. So it's gonna be a bunch of two-step checks here to try to figure out where it is we want it to be, and then how I will add, you know, it probably is always going to be some kind of variable on adding boost. So if I want to go like from 15 pounds of boost to like 16 pounds of boost, I'm probably going to have to get in there and just program it and do a two-step check and test it. It might vary just a little bit here or there. Now, the other thing that I'm going to verify and test is, do we actually need to run it like that, where it operates like a drive-by-wire throttle body, or will we actually be able to run this as a the way they normally run it? Maybe that will end up working, where this you set a predefined boost number and these just work and operate through the program to make that number. I mean, that'd be ideal. That is the ideal thing. It's a little hard to do if I'm because they always stay closed. I don't know. It's a long story. I'm getting long-winded. So anyways, just waiting for as soon as Cameron calls in, we're gonna start running this thing. But let's warm it up right now. All right. So engine's idling, and you can see when I close the valve, it doesn't flow anything. So the engine idling, open the valve, the turbo moves more air idling than what the engine is taking. So Kyle jumps in, he goes, on both sides. I go, what? He goes, on both sides. You gotta explain it. So it is on both sides. It's because I have a throttle body on each side of the engine here. So we can go shove a piece of paper over there, but I guarantee you it's blowing the same thing over there. It just is. So interesting. All right, so Cameron calls in and jumps right online, starts going through setup, starts setting up tables in the PID control. So this is all PID control tables for the Wastegate controllers. Because what's nice right through here is they've already done a lot of this, so they already have a lot of what the control needs to be set up at with these Wastegates in order to work properly. So saving me a lot of time. All right, so right after we get this done, we start running through the auto calibration of the gates, and I just now discovered that there's something wrong. Something wrong with the wiring. I'm not going to hold you up on this, so I will go in here and I'll voltmeter these out and make sure what's what here, and then I'll fire back. Okay, very good. Thanks, bud. All right, so I tested. I do have the ground and positive are functioning, sending 5-volt signals, so sensor ground and positive, so that's right. So I'm calling my wiring guy to see if he can jump on with me real quick.
Did it figured out?
2-wire. Yeah. All right, so doing my absolute least favorite thing in the entire universe, which is wiring. I found a sensor wire and temperature wire were switched in the middle of the harness down farther. So we have now, you can see here, I'll have Neil do it. Neil, do you want to, hold on, well, actually I'm gonna turn this on, and I have power plugged in now, so I'm not sure if it's going to want to do auto calibrate or not, or if it's going to run. Okay, it is not yet. Fair enough. That one over there didn't move or do anything, right? Ah, okay. Oh, it's not stuck. Can you move the one over there? I think that's number 1. Never mind, this is number 1. Yeah, that's number 1. Okay, that's good right there. So now I'll call up Cameron again. I do have both of them are hooked up, both the sensors are working and go follow their position, but are not doing it auto.
Could just have Neil come in here when you're making a pass, open it and close them.
Even though Neil weighs somewhere around 55 pounds, I don't want to add the extra weight of keeping Neil under the hood to operate the Wastegates.
I understand that's the only concern.
Huh?
That's the only concern, I'd imagine.
Yeah. I don't want to add weight to the car. Alright, now right through here, now we're noticing I got the sensors to work, but it's not auto-calibrating, they're not moving. And so I'm hunting around for, there's got to be some other pin not connected all the way, or something's flipped, or something's funny. So this is why we got to test this stuff, and that's exactly what we're doing. So I'm on the phone with Cameron trying to test all this stuff and trying to see if it's something in programming, something you can, that's just input output selection in the software, or if it is actually a wiring issue. And yes, it's a wiring issue. Bing, when I see that, it's wiring. Now he's hunting around for it, and camera says, yeah, no, it's something wrong. Something's unconnected. Something's disconnected. It's wrong. So I'm gonna go in and hunt around for that thing. Okay, that one fuse is blown. So let me go change that real quick. How
far you're getting?
So have one gate working. Both sensors are reading the voltage, so that's good. So I'm missing something else here. So I'll show you the one gate working.
Sounds pretty cool.
There you go.
Yeah.
One gate is actually functioning. What did it just do right there?
Probably closed.
Yeah, closed. Okay. This one is not yet. There's something is not quite right. You see here, I took the door off, put it on my hand dandy fender holder, aka door holder. Need to glue that thing back on too. All right, so I've gotten I've gotten both wastegates to work now. So this is kind of interesting. You can watch it calibrate. Both of them are right. There was, again, just one wrong connector. This one here, now what it does is it calibrates that, and then it's gonna go beep, open like that. And that's the neutral position, is right there, is wide open. All right, so I got that. Now I'm gonna call Cameron, and we got the Dewey's about ready to go rummage through Snap-on Billy's truck. Take candy wrappers, beef jerky wrappers, yeah, all that good stuff. All right, so I'm gonna call Cameron back and see if we can get this thing the rest of the way done. Try again. So right here, what I'm doing is we're going to wide open throttle, because in the standard way of using the boost gate, like what Cameron wanted to try it out first, so that's where it just operates like a boost controller on the compressor side. It should, at wide open throttle, it should close the gates. It's not, but it's a simple fix. All just turns out to be a software, firmware conflict. And there you go. So we update it. Ah, there you go. There you go. Throttle opens, gates close. Yeah, didn't like that. Alright, so long story short, what you're seeing here is comes up on RPM, it dumps all the timing out of it, and dumped so much timing out of it that it just didn't flat out have enough horsepower to drive through wasn't making enough boost, therefore it wasn't making enough horsepower to maintain that RPM, and it just basically snuffs it right out. So we're going to change some of the strategies here and that's some strategy stuff that I don't normally do, or haven't had to do, but I probably should have done. That Cameron's going to show me what we're going to do here. That might be why I had that, maybe that's why I raised that back up to 3 degrees of timing on that rev launch.
It didn't even get there.
Yeah. Well, no, it went to negative timing and then it killed it. Did I have the 2-step, same as the 3-step RPM? Pretty much this whole area right here, we're trying to figure out what does it want in order to run right and build a boost and not surge. So we're just figuring stuff out. All right, now check this out. Comes up on the two-step. The valve is open. You see the little piece of paper moving. Close the throttle. Boom. Opens up the
Yeah, that's cool.
boost gate to dump it off.
Sure. Sure.
There, was it moving?
Just a little bit.
All right, that's cool.
Once it hit the
Once it hit that chip.
two-step, yeah.
13.9 pounds, no surge.
Alrighty. Let's turn.
And if you look at our position here,
Yeah, position there. Oh, so yeah, so it opened up right there. Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect. Dead nuts met target.
13.88 to 14, but that's like a couple tenths of a pound. So,
Well, you probably ought to fix that. I'm just kidding. Okay. All right. Cool. Well, what I really want to do is I want to see if it'll make it up to 16.
16?
Yeah.
I'm actually asking for 17, just because I think those can be like a half pound shy.
Yeah.
You were giving me some crap earlier, so we're gonna. And then let's go into our timing stuff here. Okay, I'm ready whenever you are ready.
Okay. All right, now this is very interesting. Slow this down so you can see it. It's on the two-step, it's wide open throttle. All of a sudden, the valve is not open, and the paper starts moving. Bing, 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 and then the valve opens up. All right. Everything that's going on right there is air is actually coming back out the inlet of the turbocharger and moving that air or moving that piece of paper.
16 and a little bit of surge. Let me see position.
All right, so what we're seeing here is it did hit a spot from engine RPM. The engine RPM is perfectly smooth. It was surging right there. Not only was it surging, see it on the graph, I didn't hear it, but you can actually see it. You could see that piece of paper that was moving back just a little bit ago, and the gate valve was never open. It was never moving any air there. That was literally the surge coming back out the inlet of the turbocharger. So that is really cool. So we're going to make a change here on strategy for timing and when the two-step, three-step, and engine RPM, and just raise that up, and then let's make another hit. Does it need to hit the engine RPM to go to two-step, or is it looking at boost numbers?
It's based on boost.
Oh, it goes to hit boost. Okay, they don't care about the engine. Okay. Valve open up?
Yeah. Most that ever did. So far.
Oh, that's a lot better.
15 and a half. And position, wastegate positions on about 15%.
Okay.
And I'm sure you could massage it a little, a little more
Yeah.
to get that extra 3/4 of a pound or whatever, but
Yeah, I mean that pretty much made boost 4.5 seconds, looks like. That's right.
yeah, right here is 14 pounds. I made it so that it comes off the three-step at 14 pounds. So it just needed a little more engine speed to gain everything. And then if we look at turbo speed, yeah, your one still, I think this is an air gap problem
Okay.
with the sensor itself, but the other one is at about 49,000.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this looks like an air gap or maybe some kind of loose pin connection, something like that.
What about that down below there where it's all on the, yeah, what's that one?
That to me looks like air gap because it's like doubling and then it drops. They're very sensitive to the gap because like it's an aluminum compressor wheel, so that sensor is like a special sensor that picks up on non-ferrous metal.
Yep.
And they have to have like a really specific
Air
air
gap.
gap. I don't know what that is off the top of my head, but
Okay. I'll mess around with that.
I know that like the ones that I've set up, you have to screw them in until they touch one of the blades, and then you back it off a certain number of threads.
Yep.
The sensors themselves usually come with an instruction thing on how deep into the cover they're supposed to be.
Okay.
But yeah, 15.9 pounds. Call that 16
Yep.
ish.
Yeah, boy, the timing's all over there. So bring up the timing,
Oh, yeah.
timing line there.
I have
Okay.
the randomizer on to try and get the turbos all amped up.
Okay.
Then cut. Let's see how much cut it's doing. Not a whole lot. So it's a pretty smooth rev limit too because it's not doing a lot of ignition cut. The
Okay.
randomized timing is mostly what's holding the engine, to be honest with you. Which is actually better for spooling turbos. You don't want to be shutting cylinders off if you're trying to drive a turbo hard. So,
Yeah, obviously, yeah. Okay. All right, cool. Well, I think that is doing exactly what we wanted to do in the traditional method.
Yep. Yeah, so we didn't have to do make it think that it's a throttle body thing and have like a pre-opening or any of that kind of stuff. It was more like once it because this actually has a as it's approaching that boost, you can see that it's not quite at 16 psi yet, and like down here on this bottom row, like the wastegate is barely just starting to open up. So it's actually starting to generate airflow as it's climbing to target by just a little bit. That's probably just enough to get you through that surge spot.
Right. Okay.
Let's get rid of some of this other stuff here. I don't know if it makes it easier to see. We don't need this, don't need this, don't need this. I don't need my ignition cut stuff.
Did it go, so, so in between the two, so like at 14 pounds of boost versus that 15.5 pounds of boost, what was the
You want to see
position?
the position difference?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do this. 14%. It's about the same. 15% on the other one.
Yeah, almost the same.
Do you prefer a white background or
No,
black?
white.
White. Okay. Yeah, 16%, 15, 16%.
Versus 14% on the other one, on the lower boost, lower RPM.
Yes. So another
Alright.
2%.
Okay.
1.5%, 2%. Once it gets there.
Right. Okay.
And then
Sweet.
You can see after you whip out the throttle, the position of the wastegate opens and the pressure drops off just like it would be essentially a blow-off valve.
Yeah. Yeah. Valve goes
I don't
open.
know if it's exactly as quick as a blow-off valve is, but it's better than not having one as far as pressure relief anyway. So
Yeah.
and then actually it doesn't look too bad on fuel now. Like it's actually relatively smooth. more in the high G's on the two-step. There's not a whole lot of, not like it's loaded like it's moving a car here. So
Right.
but yeah, man, that's it. Is there anything else that you need from me or to help you with?
Nope. I think that's it.
Alrighty.
All right, man. I appreciate it. I think it's great. Thank you much.
Alright, man. We'll see you.
All right. See you. Bye.
Bye.
Alrighty. So it ended up working, and I had started thinking about it that it was only sometime I couldn't quite figure out exactly when. I could see it on a data logger, but I thought, you know, we could run it like the drive-by-wire throttle body, and we actually would have figured it out. It's like, okay, it needs to be at that position to do it, and someday I might go back and try it, but the main purpose in everything is make it work first, get it down the track, and then we can play with things. But because once something doesn't go down the track, or once you have a problem, you got to eliminate the problem before you figure out the fine things in it, you know. So might still end up going back there and looking at that, because I am always curious about the, you know, building up some impeller speed, and I really kind of been curious there once I get my when it is you should be able to see it on the camera here. This is where you could go back and like show that position of the valve, like
Just creeping.
just creeps open a little bit.
Yep.
So you can see it right here in the camera, is that it is just creeping open. And if we would have had like a flapper or something, it's obviously moving air right there, so it's dumping air right out the side, and so it's letting the turbo move more air. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's moving more or turning more RPM. I'm gonna keep thinking about that overnight. It's probably gonna wake me up thinking about it. But so there's little things, you know. I'm just always trying to want to learn this stuff for myself, you know, and try to figure it out. But very thankful guys at you know, Cameron at Fuel Tech, all the guys at Fuel Tech will jump right on and help you do that kind of stuff. So it's nice. If I can't figure something out for myself or for my customers, you know, they need to talk to them. But I think that looks good. Consistent. Made it up 60 pounds. I was not ever able, when we were doing it before, I was never able to get it to go to 16 pounds of boost. It would always surge as soon as it hit 14, and then it would go down to 10 or 9 and sit there and surge there. It would never get above 14 pounds of boost. So getting it, that's why I wanted to say, I want to see it get to 16 pounds of boost, or 15 and a half. Looks like we can get it up higher. If we would have let it go higher at let's see here, let it go higher at on the 3-step right there, which I normally do, so I would let it go higher. I mean, it's at 50. I'm really surprised this thing can make it up to 5,400 RPM on the converter, to tell you the truth. But I've never run it up that high. It would build a lot of boost right there. That really wouldn't be too big a problem. There's a bunch of timing still left. Oh no, it's got a bunch of timing out of it right there. I'm surprised it's doing that. So that's just you know, this whole little deal right here. This is all this. What do you call it? The something tuning or something timing. Shoot, what was that? It is. I'll tell you what now. It is. Oh, the high resolution ignition cut. So in the high resolution like that, it's a different strategy. I've not used that before. In fact, the one time I did try to use it, it was. Oh, that's a good point. When I did use it, one time at the NMCA event, the only one time I tried it, Deal Brothers, Nick Deal showed me, oh, you got to use this, and I put it in there, and it freaking surged. So it went into surge, and it was doing that. Then that was the time the car was sitting there rocking. It was probably rocking 6 inches. It's so angry. Here, it's quite smooth. It looks pretty good. So yeah, I'm super happy with it. So that is how we're making the boost gate work. So we're going to be going to NMCA Norwalk on the 21st, 22nd, 23rd. Come see us if you like. We're going to hopefully do well there. If I can, this has been a little bit of a nemesis for a long time, is being this consistent launch RPMs. Had moments of glory and moments of failure, usually on the same day. So I'm pretty hopeful. I think everything's really good. All right, I'm Steve Morris. Like, subscribe. Appreciate all you guys. Have a great day.